Welcome to Eye on the Illini. This is Mike Kegley with Kedrick Prince. We thought we needed to get on and talk a little bit about some of the big news that came out of University of Illinois athletics today. First off, you have to just literally tip your cap to Shauna Green and that women's basketball team. They won the first Illinois NCAA victory since March 17th, 2000. Now, that is an incredible feat in and of itself. But when you add in the fact that they did that with 6 players playing today, that is nothing short of incredible, incredible to do that. The next thing we also wanted to tip our cap to is Lucas Bird won the 133-pound NCAA championship, defeating Drake Ayala of Iowa. So in a rematch of the Big Ten title, and what a great, great victory it is for Illinois to have an individual NCAA champion. So 2 big things that happened today. Kedrick Prince here with me. Kedrick, you and I both spent time watching the game today. What were your impressions of that impressive 66-57 victory of the Illini women in that first round battle against Creighton down in Austin, Texas?
Right away for me, it showed that Illinois can play multiple ways. Judging by what I saw on the sideline, it looked like associate head coach Calamity McIntyre had the scout because she was very aggressive and she was really involved. But anyway, to my point, Illinois can win in a multiple ways. And I'll tell you, Creighton runs really, really good sets. It's hard. Illinois spent a lot of energy trying to defend that. And that is a sign of coaching. Well, I don't know which coach it was that had the defensive assignment, but I'll tell you what, they did a really good job of taking Creighton out of things that they wanted to do. I was extremely impressed with that part of it. And just where the program has come from. I was talking to a couple of people during the game texting me, and when they saw Illinois' record, then they flashed on the screen, Mike, all the injuries that they've had. For some reason, I just like Illinois' curse to win any kind of Coach of the Year award, whether it's Bielema, whether it's Brad Underwood. Shauna Green deserved that, and her staff. I don't care what you say. You are missing, a lot of points, depth, all of it. And, you look at the game tonight, and I'm not going to look at any stats. I'm going to use the eye test. I don't think Kendall Bostic came out. I don't think Genesis Bryant came out. I don't think Adelia came out. That's 40 minutes. And they're winning. And, and the thing that's hard for me, and I know people are probably going to get upset with me when I say this, support them. Because this could be the other way around. They're trying. She's recruiting. They're winning. It's great to turn the TV on and to watch Illinois women's basketball in the tournament, to hear the name of Selection Sunday, to watch those women cheer when their name was called. Mike, Shauna is just, I'll put it like this, and I'll drop it, and I'll let you go ahead, and I'll let you run the show. Let me tell you this. They are damn lucky to have this woman as their basketball coach. I'm telling you, they are very, very lucky.
Yeah, well, look, I had the opportunity to meet her, and when I look at what Josh Whitman has done with his hiring, and I'm one of the few people I understood why they swung for the fences with Lovie Smith. I thought it was a hire that was inspired, and if it would have went well, it would have been great. Unfortunately, things didn't work the way you wanted it. But I have no problem with hiring him. And normally I'd say you may have hung on to him a couple of years too long. But the bottom line is that a year or two too long allowed you to get Brett Bielema. So, hey, I'm not even going to complain about that. But when you take a look, if you sit down, and a lot of people haven't had the privilege to sit down and talk with a Brad Underwood one-on-one, a Brett Bielema one-on-one, or a Shauna Green, but I've been fortunate enough to talk with all 3. None of them would call me their friend. None of them would probably even recognize me. They talk to enough media all the time. But Shauna is a leader, and she's a leader who does so by unifying people and building people up. She is someone that I could understand why players would gravitate to her and would want to be a part of her organization. I've also had times that I've had the ability and the good fortune to talk to Calamity McIntyre, and she is truly just a unique force and a great personality. Again, you can understand why people would want to play for her as well. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter if these two didn't know one lickety split thing about basketball. They could recruit people because of their personalities. Then when you add their basketball knowledge and their ability to coach on top of that personality, they are very talented. And I think that is, Josh Whitman knows what he's doing. You know, you get Brett Bielema, you get a guy who is able to retain his players even though his budget isn't as much, and he finds ways to win and get 10 games with $3 million of NIL instead of the 20 million that Ohio State gets. I wonder what Brett Bielema could build if he had that type of money. And finally, Brad Underwood has a focus and a desire and a burning passion that, you know, it keeps guys moving forward, and you can see why he builds such strong bonds with guys like Kofi Io, Terrence Shannon, Marcus Damask, and so all three of these coaches have a lot of things that they are doing that makes them unique. And I got to give I got to give Whitman the props for bringing them in. But let's talk a little bit about the women here. Specifically, Genesis Bryant ended up with 17 points, some key free throws down the line as she went 7 for 9 from the free throw line. Had 1 rebound, 4 assists, played 40 minutes. Barry Wallace was at 11 points, 5 boards, a massive board and putback down the stretch that I think really turned that game and gave Illinois some breathing room. She played 32 minutes. Bryn Shoup-Hill, 9 points, 2 boards, an assist in 27 minutes. The original Illini gal, Adalia McKenzie, 14 points, 7 boards, 2 assists in 39 minutes. Kendall Bostic, who I think should be the most underrated women's basketball player in America. I don't care what level.
Exactly.
12 points, 17 rebounds, and in 35 minutes. And we have Brown Hager had 3 points, 5 boards, an assist in 27 minutes. 6 women went together and played as a unit, and were able to go up against a veteran Creighton team, a team that runs, as you said, a lot of sets that makes you work on defense and tires you out. And they were able to hold on to a lead. And the unique thing about this is Illinois, we've heard about some fades that they've struggled with, but Illinois outscored Creighton in 3 of the 4 quarters, but both quarters in the second half. So I thought it was really an impressive victory. So, Ked, let's let you talk, and then Matt.
One of the things I will have to tell you, I mean, I had an opportunity to talk to one of the coaches, and that they said to me, they can play with anybody, for 30, 35 minutes, but then the depth against some of the great teams, they get fatigued. They're tired, which is, I think they've adjusted. I think they've done some things differently in practice because of this. It was nice they had a long rest for the Big Ten tournament since the Big Ten tournament has been over. Again, it's remarkable from what they're doing. The women, I keep saying girls, excuse me, they know the roles. They don't do things that they can't do. Kendall Bostic, people don't make fun of it, but she's not 6'2", and the way she can get a rebound and the way she can score, sometimes you can tell she's hobbling out there. I think she tweaked an ankle early in the first quarter, but just like Genesis Bryant is she's smart. She hasn't played point guard since high school. She's not the quickest person in the world, but she's serviceable, and she's running a team out there, and teams are constantly putting pressure on her, and she handles the basketball really well. I just think the staff in general, they really do get along. I know people think this is media speak or journalists just telling you what you want to hear. They really do get along, and that's why they're still there. Matt Stevens, who's on with us, wrote a wonderful piece on Calamity McIntyre, and I personally, I mean, does she deserve a head job? I think she does. I think Beasley deserves a head job, but they like what Shauna's doing, and they believe in her, and she has put this program in a position where they're respectable. I'll close with this. Lisa Bluter, we know who she is at the University of Iowa, and I've wrote about this a couple times. She has given major respect to Shauna Green, to publicly and to her own team. The days of going to Champaign and beating Illinois by 40 and 60 points, those days are done. Because Shauna's won. She's too good of a coach. She recruits well. She knows when to use timeouts. She adjusts, and whoever they scout and how they scout is great, because they went out on the West Coast. They went on the gas, and they played with UCLA and USC. So it's a great win. She just keeps breaking records, but I guess it's pretty easy to break when you've been horrible, since Teresa Grintz left.
Matt?
I actually thought this was about the best draw that Illinois could have gotten. I know Creighton was really, really good all year long. I think they had 6 losses, 3 of which are to UConn, and I think the other 3 were to top 25 teams, and I think that scared a lot of people. But I think if you look at it X's and O's wise, this is about as good a draw I think as Illinois could have gotten. And the reason I say that is because, Creighton only plays about 7 people anyway. And so it wasn't like Illinois was going to get bombarded with depth on the other side of the bench. They're a veteran squad, just like Illinois was. So it wasn't going to be a situation in which you feel like you were going to be out athleted at Creighton. That's not the way Creighton plays. That's not the way they recruit. And then you're essentially playing a team that, Illinois men's basketball fans should understand this. You're either going to get blown out or you're going to blow them out, because either Creighton was going to make 23s and Illinois was going to get blown out, or Creighton wasn't going to make 23s and Illinois was going to have a chance to probably lead this whole game. And that's the way that this played out. You talk about like if when she woke up today, I called Shauna Green and told her that, Lauren Jensen was not going to hit a 3-pointer today. Shauna would have been convinced she was going to win the basketball game. Her team was going to win the basketball game. That's what happened. You're talking about somebody who had over 73s this year. Is Creighton's leading scorer in a 5-out offense, has to make threes because she doesn't out athlete anybody. And she goes, I think it was 0 of 7. Was it 0 of 6? 0 of 6 from beyond the arc today. And I don't know if she's ever done that all year, maybe not since she's been an upperclassman. That not only is because of the way that Illinois defended her, but she just had an off night. And when you have an off night in the NCAA tournament, you go home. Because everybody that Illinois put on the floor tonight played a role and did their part. So, and you kind of knew that was going to happen. So, unless foul trouble kind of ate them up, and that wasn't going to happen, I didn't think, because Creighton doesn't do a whole lot of, downhill dribble, try to get KB or Brent Hill in foul trouble. So I didn't think that was going to be a problem. So as long as Illinois didn't turn it over and they kept themselves in the game offensively, I really thought that this was about the best matchup they could draw. And sure enough, they led most of this game and didn't exactly give it away at the end like they did against Nebraska in the Big Ten tournament and like they did against Michigan on Senior Day, because Creighton at the end of the day just still couldn't throw the ball in the ocean at the end of it, because it's just so uncharacteristic of them, because they've been such a really, really good shooting team all year.
Yeah, so looking at the stats here for those people who maybe haven't had a chance to look at that yet, Illinois shot 45% to 36 for Creighton. Illinois' 3-point percentage was 33 versus 27. Illinois 6 of 18 and Creighton 6 of 22. Free throw percentage for Illinois, big down the stretch, 83%, 10 for 12 versus 64 for Creighton. Illinois had 11 turnovers versus 8. Points off of turnovers, Illinois was still up there, 9-7. Total rebounds, Illinois out-rebounded Creighton by 10, and when Kendall Bostic gets 17, that gives you a real good idea of where that came from. And in terms of second chance points, Creighton had the advantage there, 11-8. Bench points, Creighton had an 8-3 advantage, and of course that's not surprising. Neither team, as Matt noted, uses a lot of the bench. Points in the paint was 32-22 Illinois. Fast break was 12-5 Creighton. Blocks, Creighton had 6, Illinois had 3. Steals, Creighton had 8, Illinois had 5. Assists, Illinois led 11-9. Times the lead changed 0. I'm sorry, times tied 0. Times the lead changed just twice. And Illinois was in the lead 37 minutes and 10 seconds of this game. So that is a definition of how you win a first-round game. And, of course, Illinois is going to face number 1 seed Texas next in Austin, because that's how they work those things for the first couple rounds. Going to be a tough uphill battle with only 6 people, but this is an amazing season with the number of injuries. I don't think anybody in the country expected Illinois, with all these injuries, to be able to do what they did and to be able to make it this far. And my guess is that Calamity McIntyre, Beasley, Shauna Green, they're working on a game plan right now, because they're not going to concede a loss to Texas. So they are figuring out what they are going to do to try to counter it. But let's face it, folks, it's David and Goliath. We know David won in the Bible. We will see if David can win tomorrow. Chad?
Well, I'll tell you, honestly, fellas, I just mentioned a few minutes ago, they went out to USC and UCLA and played on the road. They're not going to be fazed by this. I'm sorry, they're just not. Because unless my memory serves me correct, I think UCLA had the number 1 overall seed, and they face teams like this. So they're not going to be intimidated. And Mike, your last statement, you're 100% right. They're not going to roll over. There's no way in the world. And I've known Shauna. I've talked to her, and she's nice. She is. But I'm going to tell you, you talk to her players privately, behind the back. That's what I'm going to say. Behind the scenes, she's tough. I had the privilege to, Matt, you spent a week with them. I've had the opportunity to watch 2 or 3 practices myself. They pay attention to detail like no other. And I don't know if you picked up on this, just little things that the average person may not pick up on, as far as passing the basketball, passing the ball in the shooting position, passing the ball to the outside hand so the defender can't get to it. They're going to be prepared. And they're not going to roll over and play dead. Like I said to you, they have faced everybody. They've been through the gauntlet of the Big Ten. And I can tell you this. We know Texas was sitting there watching. And I'll be honest with you, I think they had an average night offensively from Kendall Bostic. Yeah, she has 17 rebounds and 12 points, but I know she missed a couple bunnies. Again, maybe she tweaked her ankle. Who knows? I'm they're not going to say that. And I think Barry Wallace – yeah, Barry Wallace was effective. I think, Mike, the shot of the game for me was, I think if you read the stats right, Jasmine Brown-Haggard only had 3 points. If my memory serves me correct, that 3 she hit was huge. That's the shot I thought. And I agree with you. Barry's, putback was huge, and
she sealed the deal.
Yes. She doesn't play like a freshman, and it's fun to watch because they're older. And I've been saying that for the last week or so, even in men's basketball, get old and stay old if you can stay old. I think that's
what I liked about that play by Barry Wallace, Ked, was she was falling backwards. And as a freshman, you're probably going to back your way out of that situation. But she caught her balance and then saw an opening, put her head down and went to the right and got a layup out of it. I just thought that was a play that you would expect out of an older player. And it goes to a team that is working on the small details in practice and has very strong fundamentals.
Well, when you're a 5-star recruit and one of the best players in the country, most of those kids and 4 stars, they're aggressive. their mindset, they're wired to score, and that's what she is. I mean, they ran a play for her to get a 3 off, and they got blocked. Barry is a scorer, and I think she's going to be counted on a lot to replace a lot of Kendall Bostic scoring next year. That's going to be tough. No one's going to replace her rebounding. I should never say never. But my point is, I agree with you. I think she's outstanding as a freshman. And, you know, basically she's a sophomore by now because she's logged a lot of minutes. But the future is really bright with her being on the roster.
Well, I promise you I know who has the scout for Monday night, and that's Calamity McIntyre, because there's anybody on that staff that knows Vic Schaefer well enough to be able to do that. It's Miss Calamity Jane. She has absolutely she knows every little detail as to how Vic likes to coach defense. And you know, it's no secret. I mean, it's a very, very physical, very in your face, man-to-man defense that has won Vic Schaefer everywhere he's been. And so here's here's the caveat to Texas. And if you don't think Texas is going to get to the Final Four, it's because they don't score enough. And guess what? Vic Schaefer's teams have really never, ever, you know, put the ball in the basket on a unbelievable amount. And what happens when you don't do that? You allow a team like Illinois to stick around. So I suspect that maybe if Illinois doesn't do a whole lot of stupid stuff and doesn't have a whole lot of defensive breakdowns, like that's the kind of game you're going to see on Monday. And so I figure, you know, if Illinois can play in a similar way that they did today, you know, they have a chance to stay in this game simply because I just don't think Texas is going to run you out of the gym, even though it is their gym. And I think Calamity will come up with a plan that at least keeps them in the ball game. What I was really, really impressed with, guys, is that, you know, I watched the whole game and it just felt like Illinois' defense took Creighton out of everything that they wanted to do. When you can do that, you can win games. I don't care how many times you go on the other end of the floor and don't come up with points. If you're making somebody go to a plan B, and quite frankly, Creighton doesn't have a plan B. They only took 4 more threes than Illinois did. Like, the fact that Creighton didn't shoot half of their field goal attempts from beyond the 3-point arc is essentially was something that they would really not want to do. When you use the phrase "run them off the 3-point line," that's exactly what Illinois did. I mean, they were almost baiting Creighton. When I was watching this game to, like, here, shoot a layup. Like, we'll give you the layup. And you know, if you go the whole year without having that done, when it's not just like a back cut, like, Creighton's not going to take the layup. Their whole identity is we're going to shoot threes. And I thought, like, Illinois' wing players, Barry Wallace being one, Adalia McKenzie being another, and then even Jazz with, it seemed like, a new player, at least on the defensive end of the floor, because her hamstring is about as close to 100% as it can get at this point.
I thought so too.
Like, she ran her offensive player off the 3-point line. And you know, I've been talking about it with the guys, Illinois guys team, but it's I don't care what gender or form of basketball or level of basketball you're playing. Like, this team doesn't go under any screen. Like, Shauna won't let you. Like, Ked's right. I was embedded with this team last year for a week to watch practice. I've never seen a head coach stop practice dead, like, more times than Shauna Green does. And she'll stop practice when somebody goes under a screen. We don't do that here. Like, that's the easy way out. Like, don't do that. Like, we go over the top of screens. Like, we fight over the top of screens. Don't do that. Like,
welcome to the 1980s. Now, folks, we are going to take a real quick minute here to have a couple of our sponsors give you a message. Please pay attention to this one.
This is the Run My Own Business dream. This is the colleges paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned.
Check your calendars. It's March Madness time again, and every game is a chance to cash in. From the first tip-off to the Final Four, every night promises high-stakes matchups, wild finishes, and big-time betting opportunities. Better yet, Bet and Get from MyBookie is back to sweeten the deal. Place a cash bet on March Madness and get a surprise reward. Whether it's free bets, cash back, bonus chips, you never know what's coming next. Whether it's a number one seed steamrolling or an underdog shocking the world, smart bettors know the real money is made one game at a time. Listen up, sign up now with code MM50, and you can boost your bankroll with a deposit bonus designed to make the most of your money. If you don't want a bonus, that's okay too. Just make sure you let them know that we sent you. Bet on every game, anytime, from anywhere, only with MyBookie. All right, folks. So one last thing, Ked, can on this subject, can you describe a little bit about, because I know I get questions from people that they want us to describe. What do you mean by running somebody off the 3-point line?
So basically, and teams try to do that to Illinois early in the season. That means that you are not going to allow them to get 3-point shots. A lot of teams will switch everything on the perimeter. They deny everything on the perimeter. So that way, that means that you have, well, you should, because Matt's right, Creighton didn't go back door because they dared them to do it, and they never did. So what that basically means, again, is that you are not going to allow them. You're going to switch, and then hopefully you don't get a bad mismatch, like they used to have with Kofi when he was playing, because he wasn't able to do that. But with the people that Matt mentioned, and all the guards and Jasmine and Adelia, they're able to do that, to get them off the 3-point line, to overplay, to force them to go to the basket. That's what that means in a nutshell. And a lot of teams do that. I know the Wisconsin, we're doing a segment on the women's show, but Wisconsin and BYU, I believe it just ended, both of those teams shoot a high volume of threes, and both of those teams tried to do that. So, but that's what you want to do against teams that can really shoot the basketball. I'm really curious to see how that's going to work in the men's game tomorrow against Kentucky, because both teams like to shoot the three as well.
One quick note, I wanted to make sure we got in. Again, we talked about this a little bit at the start, but congratulations have to go out to Lucas Bird. He basically ended up getting a 3-2 sudden victory win over rival Drake Ayala of Iowa, and wins a national title in the 133-pound area in an evening that probably everything was overshadowed by Gable Stevenson losing, and his 68-69 game winning, or 69 match winning streak was broke. But heck of a job for Lucas Bird. Congratulations out to him, and it's so awesome to see Illinois winning a national title in wrestling.
Yeah, they've had a really, really good program for a really, really long time in the best conference in America for college wrestling. I imagine, Mike, you've got it in front of you, but I imagine Penn State won a national title tonight. And kind of everybody knows what Chael Sanderson has built over there in Happy Valley. But yeah, he'll have his name up on the wall for the rest of his life at Huff Hall, and because he won a national title. And whether it's been Jim Heffernan or whether it's been, the current administration at Illini Wrestling, they honor their national champions, or even their conference champions, in a way that, a lot of other schools don't. So really happy with that. I was really happy to see, Josh Whitman make the trip to Austin to watch this team win their first game since a lot of the players on the roster weren't born 2000, so that was really cool. And I thought Illinois got some really, really cool performances. I wrote about Jasmine Brown-Hager. I thought defensively she was awesome. When she's had some lack of confidence since the hamstring injury. But I know I jumped on here late, but I thought the quick key was what Illinois got out of the 4 spot. Creighton decided they were going to double KB, and they were not going to allow her to get a one-on-one post touch, which is smart because they're so small. But what that did was that forced Brent Shoup-Hill to have to do something offensively. And when she ends up with 9 points, those are 9 big points. And then Barry Wallace was able to do what Barry Wallace does at the 4 when she was put in there. That's a young lady that I think could have her jersey hung in State Farm Center when it's all said and done. And she showed that what she can do at the 4 spot. So, Ked, you're absolutely 100% right. On a night where KB was pretty much held in check, essentially schematically, Illinois was able to get at least, points and momentum from another spot on the floor. And that really hasn't happened for the last month. And I think that's a huge reason why Illinois is still playing and will play on Monday night.
I have a question for both of you, too, and I'm really curious to hear what you both have to say, especially you, Matthew.
Okay.
Tell me this. I know the criteria. I don't know if it's the same for men and women, but
it's not. I'll just stop you there. It's not.
Because you know where I'm going, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
That woman's jersey should be hung in the rafters. I mean, I think yes, man, because she came into the season, I think she was 9 or 10 rebounds shy of 1,400 rebounds. And I think that may be tops or close to tops in the Big Ten. And she has another game left. If there's a jersey to be hung, hopefully they do it the right way and not upside down. Someone needs to advocate for her. I'm sorry, because what she has done is truly amazing. And at 6 foot tall, guys.
Look, Ked, it's not. I've asked numerous people around the Illini program and around the athletic department. Let's just look, it's not. And I know it's not, because if you use the men's criteria, Jenna Smith's jersey is not retired at State Farm Center, the school's all-time leading scorer. Okay? If you use the men's criteria. And so she wouldn't have her jersey up there. So I don't think it's a matter of if. I think it's a matter of when Kendall Bostic has her jersey hung in State Farm Center. And quite frankly, I don't think Kendall Bostic's going to want to do it until she's done playing. And I think that's the more interesting thing on the planet, or a question to be asked right now, is because I actually think she wants to go overseas and actually see if she can play for a little bit.
And not teach?
Well, before she starts her teaching and coaching career. I think all three of us know right now a certain athletic director who might work for Illini guys that would hire Kendall Bostic tomorrow if he could.
No kidding.
And look, I'm telling you, I think that will happen. But they went over. Ked, you remember before last year they went overseas. That changed her entire perspective on this. Is that she believes she can go to a Greece and make some money playing basketball, and why not? And I'll tell you, she's got a really, really good support system with Kevin and Angie. Her parents are really, really great people. But I don't think there will be anything holding back Kendall Bostic getting her jersey retired at State Farm Center, and she's earned it. And I feel the same. Look, I said it before. I feel the same way about Barry Wallace. I think by the end, if she stays 4 years, I think she'll have her jersey retired at State Farm Center. She's that talented.
I agree.
And again, we're talking about a young lady who also has a support system at home with her parents and her older siblings that keep her grounded and are really the correct way of going about it as well. And have a really good head on their shoulders as well. So I'm really, really happy. I'm really, really happy for KB that she was able to get this. She had not won an NCAA tournament game. She played in one as a true freshman at Michigan State. She obviously played a play-in game. She was 0 for 2, and now she's got a W. So I'm thrilled for Adalia. I think she deserved this. She's worked her tail off for 4 years, and has felt like she didn't live up to the expectations of when Nancy recruited her as the Miss Basketball in the state of Minnesota. But she's been an integral piece for 3 years for Shauna Green in this turnaround. So I kind of echo what Shauna said at the end in the post-game press conference. I'm just really, really happy for this core group of veterans that they were able to finally accomplish this.
Mike, let me make one comment real quick. I'm going to tell you, I don't know if you guys really, really understand. Mike talked about it earlier, the kind of person this staff is, or excuse me, the way this staff is. I was going to say Shauna, excuse me. I screwed that up. There's a reason that these women are back. They all could have left. Matt's right. Adalia got better. Shauna proved that she can make her play. Genesis Bryant left North Carolina State averaging 2 points a game. Kendall Bostic got better. These women could have all left at the end of the season. I mean, if you don't think other schools wanted them to come play for them, you're kidding yourself, because they did, and they stayed there. This is why, like, a lot of people don't like it, but I don't really give a rat's that I promote and I push the women's program, because I know at the end of the day what it was like before they got here, number one. And they deserve it, because they could have. Let's say, for example, I'm just hypothetically saying, say Genesis Bryant wanted to go to LSU and be a backup player. Well, they got a 3 seed, and LSU is going to be great in the tournament unless they get upset. She didn't do that. I'm not saying LSU went after Genesis Bryant, so I'm not saying that. But if you don't think people want, who in the hell would want Kendall Bostic on their roster? I mean, who wouldn't want that? I don't care if you're the number one team in the country or whoever. Yep, I like that face, Matthew, because, I mean, let's face it. And that's a sign of a staff telling you that they can make you better. There's a sign that when you watch the girls on the when they're on the sidelines, it's not fake. They get along, and that's huge in a locker room, because there's no jealousy. Corey Allen doesn't play a ton. I mean, she's getting better and better. Never once have I ever seen her pout and look like she was upset, even if she went into the game for 30 seconds. I don't know what kind of magic Shauna has, but I'll tell you what, it's great, and I'm glad she's there, and I hope she retires at the University of Illinois, because it's nice to see again.
Yeah.
I would tell Mike, I'll tell you very quickly. I know of a top 10 program that was willing to pay Kendall Bostic a good amount of money to use her COVID year to help them win a national title.
Yep, sure was.
So, I mean, again, you're talking about a support system and Kevin and Angie Bostic that just made it so that, I mean, it was her choice. Kevin and Angie would have supported if she'd have gone there, but she wanted to stay there. Ked's right. Used a perfect example in Corey Allen. Her dad played, Division I college basketball at Tennessee. Have you ever heard? I mean, Ked, you would know this more than I, and maybe our subscribers wouldn't know. But I've never heard anybody in the Corey Allen camp really, really complain about what's going on these first couple of years of her development, and in terms of a parent situation. And I don't think you will. They're good people. I'm not just saying that bad people would complain. Wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? But they're solid people that understand how Division I college basketball works at the Power Conference level. They get it. And I actually think if she can get over this knee injury, because she is wearing what I like to call the immobilizer knee brace now, and I think Corey's done. Shauna won't say it, but I think she's done. That's why she didn't play today.
Correct.
I think she's going to have a really, really good career once she hits her upperclassman years at the University of Illinois. I really, really do. So you talk about, we use this word a lot, and it really chaps me sometimes when I hear this word, because I don't think it's apropos, but we hear the word culture with Shauna Green a lot. I think it works. She cares about these kids, and she will defend these players. I know for a fact that there are certain players who left this program, say last year, who have wanted to come back. I know of at least 2. So there's a culture that's being built here, for the first time, like Ked said, since Teresa left. And I don't think you're going to see this as a rare occurrence that Illinois is going to be in NCAA tournament games and win NCAA tournament games. I really don't. I think the way that they're recruiting and the way that they're building a program, and here's where Ked and I are going to disagree, because we got to get out of here with Ked and I disagreeing on something. I don't think they have to portal nearly as much as I think Ked thinks they do. I really don't. I think they have a lot of pieces coming back, believe it or not, that can make them a very, very competitive team in the Big Ten starting next year. With the recruiting class that they've brought in and what I've seen out of the 2 early enrollees that have already been starting practice, specifically CC Parchment, I don't think they necessarily have to portal necessarily the way that Shauna did necessarily in her first year to get this thing back on the tracks. I just don't.
Well, here's my comment to that. I don't think there needs to be an overhaul, but I do think this. Letty Vasconcelos is a legitimate 6'7" post player. Haven Smith is, in my opinion, 2 years away. They need another quality quality big to go with her. Now, the recruiting class is great because other than Destiny Jackson, all the girls, the women, are 6'2" and over taller, but they're going to be freshmen. Now, if they come in and be Barry Wallace, I think that's great. They need, to me, I think they need another, just a outstanding scoring guard, another guard that who can just go get buckets with some size. I love Genesis Bryant, but she's on the smaller side. But she's effective as hell. But I think that's, if it were me looking at the roster, because you don't want to over recruit, because some of these kids she recruited came in with the mindset that they're going to play. So I don't think they need a lot, but I do think you need another backup, because if Letty gets hurt again, then all you really have as a true post player, if that's what you want to call him, is going to be Haven. And again, I think she's 2 years away. I think she's had some good minutes. I will tell you this, fans, and it just seems like a love fest of the Illinois women's basketball program, but my job, being a journalist, is also recruiting. And I can tell you right now, and I'm not going to say names because that's unprofessional, when there were 2 girls that Illinois recruited when they were in high school, both of those girls cried to have to tell Shauna Green no. It was hard for them to tell her no. I know one parent said, "I don't give a damn what you do. You're gonna own this, and you're gonna tell Shauna that you're not coming." And both of those families that I've talked to, one is in the SEC and one is in the ACC. I'm telling you, those parents have said to me, "We're going to go into this with the open mind, but if it doesn't work out, we're coming home." And neither one of those players live in the state of Illinois. That's the kind of impact that she has and her staff. I mean, they're really good people. I mean, like, sometimes when you meet these coaches, they can be arrogant and stuck up. I've not had an opportunity to have a lot of conversation with Brett Bielema. I have not. Shauna Green, I've talked to a million times. Brad Underwood, I've talked to a million times. And I'm not disrespecting Brett, because, it's just each his own, whatever. But I'll tell you right now, I know what kind of people. When you get texts from coaches about birthdays and Father's Day, Happy Father's Day, and when you're sick, they're good people. And this is beyond basketball. So this is why kudos to Josh Whitman, because he hired good people. And this is why kids want to play for Brett Bielema, why kids want to play for Brad Underwood. I mean, people are saying, "Why do you want to go play for Brad Underwood? The kids leave every year." Because it's a good program. It's a place where kids feel comfortable. And I'll finish with this because I don't want to ramble. Matt, you asked about Corey Allen's dad or her family, not complaining. When Illinois got her to commit, he said to me, she committed to a coach in the program, and the facilities that Illinois has and what they have to offer behind the scenes, there's things that go on with these kids mentally that people don't understand Illinois has to offer. Other programs don't. And I mean individually. The basketball program has their own, the women's program, the football program. They committed, and they know, because he has said to me multiple times, if my daughter wants to be on the court, she has to go take it. Just because I play at Tennessee and the Division I basketball player doesn't mean my daughter's going to be given a gift. And no coach is going to lose their job to play a kid that shouldn't be on the court.
Yeah, I'll end on this, Mike, is that you mentioned it. I think it was either you or Ked. The column I wrote on Calamity McIntyre. If they lose Monday night against Texas, and they won't be, Texas is going to be heavily favored. If they lose Monday night against Texas, I truly believe that should be the last game that Calamity McIntyre is employed at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. And
don't say that, man.
If she's not, that is another year of some of the worst athletic administrative work I've seen in a long time. Because there is not
across the country.
Oh, I mean, like, Mike, I'm not ruling it out because, my God, Mike.
But you're not saying Illinois. You're saying across the country.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think there's athletic administrators that need to get their head out of their rear if they're not thinking seriously about hiring Calamity McIntyre to overhaul their women's basketball program. I don't care what league you're in. I don't care what region of the country you're in. I don't care where you want her to recruit. I don't care what you want her to play. I don't care what kind of fan base you have. She fits. And the fact that we got some really, really questionable administrating going on all across the country is the only reason I can see that she's going to stick around, as assistant coach for the 22nd season, when I think she could knock it out of the park right now at certain jobs that are still open right now in this sport. And I'm just go Monday night and watch Illinois' plan at least against Texas. She's going to have the scout, folks. She will have the scout,
and they will compete.
Yeah, and so I'm just telling you. Look, Shauna can get mad at me all she wants.
I'm getting mad at you, man. Quit trying to rush her off, man. I like her, man. That's my girl, man. I don't want her to leave.
Rush her off. She's been with Shauna for almost a decade, Ked. Like,
okay, hey, what's one more, man?
There are marriages that end before, like, shorter than that. Like,
mine did.
Good night. Good night. Like, I mean, if you're a school in the SEC and you need a head coach, like hire Calamity McIntyre. I've been saying it for God knows how long. If you're a school out in the West Coast, hire Calamity McIntyre. She's done that. She's recruited out there too. Like, if you're a school in the Midwest and that needs a head coach, hire Calamity McIntyre.
Hey, Taterhead just made a good comment. How about this? What about she stays there until Shauna Green retires and they just give her the job then? Because I mean, it's a perfect fit. She likes Champaign. She likes Illinois. She loves the fan base. She's active on social media. I tell you what, that would be a dagger for me. That was kind of like seeing Tim Anderson not being on staff in Orlando when he left. Calamity's a good woman, man. I don't want to see that happen, but I also want to see her be successful because she deserves it. She is a straight shooter, and she has a good sense of humor, and she's good at recruiting. I mean, the thing is, why they're successful, they literally don't lie to people. I've never heard a parent say to me, I talked to Kevin Parchment, Cece's father, and she could have went to Michigan and Minnesota. He told me they believed what Illinois told them, and they've talked to other parents. They don't lie. It's easy when you lie to these kids for them to go somewhere else. I'm telling you, that's one of the reasons why they're so successful, and they are passionate about it, and they do win. Sorry, Michael, Matt, and I took over your show, buddy.
No, you're good. It's fine. Like I just want to make that promotion for
So Matt is now the official PR agent for Calamity McIntyre.
I'm not getting any kickback off this either.
We can't. I'll be honest.
Tomorrow, if she gets the head coaching job in Madison, Wisconsin, I'm not getting any kickback off of that. I promise you. Like, that ain't happening.
Why'd you say that school, man? See,
what now?
Why'd you say Madison? I mean, what do you know that we don't know? I'm just kidding.
They haven't. They currently have a currently head coaching.
I know it's open.
Right.
I know.
I'll tell you one. You know what? I'm getting a little salty, and I'll go there. I think the school in Columbia, Missouri, screwed up. They should have hired Calamity McIntyre. I don't care.
She's really good. So I mean, that's not a statement. You know, we all will back you on that. We are getting a little long here on this show, right, folks. A couple things. Obviously, huge. Congratulations to the Illini women, 66-57, first NCAA victory since March 17th, 2000. So that is amazing when you think about it. At that time, I was a significantly younger man with only one child, and I have three now, and they're all in college or older. So that shows you how rough it has been. And of course,
have a driver's license yet.
I was wondering if you were born.
Yeah,
I didn't have a driver's license. I promise you that.
And of course, the other thing is Illinois can now say congratulations to 133-pound national champion Luke Bird. He was the 21st Fighting Illini wrestler to win a national championship. He earned the program's 25th national title. He's the first NCAA champion for Illinois since Isaiah Martinez in 2016. So huge congratulations out to Mr. Bird on that. That is incredible. Folks, we will, of course, be back tomorrow with Illini Guys Halftime Live, and we will have a Eye on the Illini Live after the game. Marcus Griffin will be there with us, so we certainly will have a lively discussion because we've finally figured out how to get Marcus to come out of his shell. So that's great. So we're looking forward to that tomorrow. Wisconsin has ruined the Big Ten's undefeated streak as they just fell to BYU, and UCLA has had its hands full with Tennessee. So the Big Ten is starting to get winnowed down. We're hoping the Illini will keep winning. The Illini has done really well with net teams between 16 and 44, and Kentucky falls into that area. So according to Larry Smith, the Illini guy's analytics, Illinois should have a good shot at taking on this Kentucky team. But that's why they play the games. We will be there tomorrow. Until then, go Illini.